I do is win, 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 no matter what. Got music on my mind, I can never get enough. And every time I step up in the building, everybody's hands go up.
Hi all, Ball Phil here. I'm still in Orlando on holiday, so the results are going to be done like this. I'm going to read them out quicker. I'm not just going to do a voice, so sorry if my face scares you. Tough. But here it is, nice and quick. I'm going to read the results out. I might say a few things about the results also, but pretty much it's going to be reading the predictions we also did and the mini table. So let's get underway. So it's Premier League round 6, and these were the results. The first game was Southampton versus Bournemouth. It was 3-1 to Bournemouth. Now I scored it 2-2, Moram, 0 points. Adam scored it 1-1, 0 points. Simon scored it 1-1, 0 points. Nick Branch, well done, your first week of doing this, and you scored it 3-1 to Bournemouth, 3 points, good start. Then we moved on to Leicester versus Tottenham. Full time it was 2-1 to Leicester. Tattoos are coming for someone on a great podcast, the Half and Half Scarves podcast. Please listen to any podcast network, subscribe and listen to it on Apple, so give it the stars and all that rubbish and comment it. But pretty much someone on there said that Leicester wouldn't be in the top 10 and he would get a tattoo. Oh dear. Anyway, so full time it was 2-1 to Leicester. We got 0 points, all of us 0 points. I scored 1-1, Adam scored 1-1, Simon scored 2-2, and Nick scored 1-1. Then I heard, and I sort of saw Tottenham had a goal disallowed for a stupid offside. This offside thing is getting silly to me. A little fingernail is not offside. Half a foot, if you're miles away from the goal, really isn't making something happen. It's not scoring a goal from it. It's not offside. If there's like 3 or 4 passes afterwards, other team players have touched it. The offside rule, that does state it right now. I think the rule needs to be tweaked a bit if we're going to use VAR in the Premier League. That's all I'm saying about it. Other people will go on about it. The next game was Burnley versus Norwich. Full time, 2-0 to the Burnley. I went 0-0, 0 points. Adam went 2-1. He got 2 points. Simon scored it 2-1 to Norwich, and so did Nick. Both got 0 points. The next game was Everton versus Sheffield United. Everton sack your manager. He's an idiot. Well, it was full time, 2-0 to Sheffield United. Yeah, sack your manager. No disrespect to Sheffield United, but the players Everton brought in, they should be beating you. But you're doing well when you're fighting for your life. You play some good football in the league, Sheffield United. Well, 0 points for all of us, because I went 1-0, Adam went 2-0, Simon went 0-0, and Nick went 1-0. So as you can tell, it didn't quite work out the way any of us wanted. The next one was, I believe, Man City versus Watford. Watford, who came back and drew with Arsenal last week. And obviously Man City, who lost to Norwich City. Don't poke the bear. Full time, Man City 0. Man City 8. I mean, not 0. This is not Man City of 15 years ago before their money. Man City 8. Watford 0. We all got 2 points, but none of us predicted 8 goals. I went 4-0. Adam went 5-0. Simon went 2-0. Nick went 3-1. The next game is Newcastle versus Brighton. Full time 0-0. 0 points for me. I went 2-1 to Newcastle. Lesson learned. Adam scored it 0-0. He gets the 3 points. Simon scored it 2-0 to Newcastle. 0 points. Nick scored it 0-0. Nick's getting another 3 points. Then we moved on to Busy Sunday. It was Crystal Palace versus Wolves, the first game. The game was actually 1-1. I got 2 points. 0-0 I went for. Adam scored 2-1 to Crystal Palace, 0 points. Simon went for a Wolves win. What is going on, Wolves? You were so good last year. You brought some good players in this year. You're just rubbish right now. Well, Simon went, as I said, 2-0 to Wolves, 0 points for him. Nick scored 1-0, another 3 points for that dirty hammer. He's doing well. The next game, talking about dirty hammers, West Ham versus Man United. Full time, 2-0 to West Ham. Man United, Solskjaer is not good enough. The players you've got are not good enough. You're sort of making Chelsea look good. What's bad for you? Because we can't defend, but we'll get to that Chelsea game. Phil scored it 2-1. 2 points, as I didn't say. West Ham won 2-0. Adam scored it 2-2, 0 points. Simon scored it 1-0 to West Ham, 2 points. Nic, the Dirty Hammer, great podcaster though, he went 2-2, didn't have confidence in the team he supported, 0 points. Sorry about that. Then we moved to Arsenal versus Aston Villa, full time, 3-2 to Arsenal. Arsenal had a player sent off. They were at home. Their fans are still acting like it's an amazing result. I would like to think Chelsea with 10 players could still beat Aston Villa at home. Arsenal, if you want to strive to be the big club that you should be putting teams like Aston Villa to bed, not struggling against them. Yes, you had 10 players, we get it. But 10 players against them is not that much of a difference. Football, we train that way for that these days. The strike force you've got won you that game. Your defence, like Chelsea, is a big problem though. And for both of us, could possibly make us miss out on top 6. Well, the full-time score was Arsenal 3, Aston Villa 2. I got 2 points because I said they would score 3, but they conceded and I went 3-0. So 2 points for me. Adam went 3-1. He got 1 more. He would have got the 3 points, but he's only got 2. Simon went 3-0. Like me, should have realised David Luiz is in defence, can't defend. 2 points. Nic went 2-0, 2 points. The last game of the weekend, the best game of the weekend. Chelsea versus Liverpool. A couple of the goals for Liverpool, I personally think, were soft free kicks given in the first place. But the Chelsea defence was shocking and really should be defending them. And it wouldn't have been a problem. I thought the young Chelsea team was fantastic as well, especially the second half. Jose Mourinho did say, when you start applauding teams off the pitch for playing well but losing, you're not a big club anymore. Normally I'd agree with that, Jose. But here's the thing. Chelsea are in a massive transition. They weren't allowed to make any transfers summer, and they're probably not allowed to in January either. They lost their best player to Real Madrid. One of the best in the world at the time. And they have a manager who's in his second ever season as a manager. So us Chelsea fans are understanding we can't expect everything right now. We've got to sit back and let time happen. I think with this young squad of players we've got as well, so many youth academy players through, a few great signings next season. Chelsea could be easily top 2 fighting for the title. I say easily, it depends how this season goes. It's hard to get top players in if we don't make European football. But if they look at these youth players that are coming through, I'd want to play with them personally. I'd be excited if I was a top player. I can see a team what could possibly great for the next 5, 6, maybe 8 seasons. Bias talk maybe, but watching these kids, second half, they were like Rocky Balboa in Rocky. They went toe-to-toe with Liverpool. And I don't think Liverpool's had many teams scare them that much. Better finishing towards the end. Chelsea would have easily got a draw in this game. And yet again, they had a goal disallowed the first half because Mason Bell had half a foot offside. The rule does state it is offside. I get that. But he's 3/4 away from the goal. He's not in the area. The ball's probably touched 3 or 4 players since then. It's ridiculous. VAR, the offside, something needs to be worked. One of my friends did say he thinks you need to be clear daylight for offside to work properly now with VAR. I understand that. I personally think at least like half your body's off if you're outside the area. And if you're in the area, you put it with your foot. It's still a tough one, but yeah, it's a tricky one. But the rules need to be looked into. VAR's new. We've got to give it time. Well, anyway, it did end full time. Unfortunately, 2-1 to Liverpool. No matter how well Chelsea played, we all got 2 points for this. I predicted 3-1 Liverpool. Adam scored it 4-1 Liverpool. Dream on, Adam. Simon scored it 3-1 Liverpool, 2 points, and Nic scored it 3-2 Liverpool. He said it'd be a close, good fighting game, and it was, but only 2 points. So as the league table stands this week, the prediction round table, Nic is in first place with 15 points. Adam with a second place, 11 points, so the 2 newbies top. 2, third, me with still 10 points. I'm still hitting them double digits. 4th, Simon again. He's going to blame Orlando. The postman doesn't always get it right, it seems. He's maybe drinking too much in Orlando and too much Orlando Sun. He got a measly 8 points. Simon, next week, step your game up, mate. We've got to get you back into this. I believe in you. You're not Newcastle yourself. You're Simon from the Simon Says podcast. You can do this. All of us are from podcast, and in the links will be their podcast. One's about American football from Adam. So if you like American football, give it a go. Then you've got Nick. What can I say about Nick Branch? He's in charge of the podcast network, or is one of the people in charge of the podcast network that I work for. He does many like Pop After Dark, Universal After Dark, Diz After Dark. They're a bit more adult-y and they're not as biased, so you would enjoy them. He's in many more, but I can't name them all off. There's so many of us on there. I'm on the After Dark Podcast Network, the Orlando Addict Podcast. I need listeners. I'm brand new still. Come on, push me up. And so does Simon. He needs listeners as well. I'm pushing up. He talks about his general life and what he's been up to. His podcast will be quite good right now. Like me, he's in Orlando, so he's going to tell you. He just talks about his life like a diary every week. It's interesting. I think it's fun. He's got loads of things. He wants guests on, so if any of you are interested, please get on his podcast. Also, me, I'd like guests. Anyone who comes to Orlando, comment on there for any of us if you want to be on one of our podcasts, and we'll try and get you on to what our podcasts do, obviously. So yeah, that's pretty much it. The next video will be about predictions for the next round of the Premier League, and I'm aiming to go top again because I don't like being this low down. See you soon. Ball Phil.
All I do is win.